Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? Happy Sunday. I hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend. It's another absolutely beautiful day in Northern California. Got up at 6 a.m., walked my dogs, then spent some time reading a new book. I got about 100 pages in, which is a good clip for me considering I have 3 dogs trying to fight for my attention, 2 cats trying to sneak their way in. But yeah, so that was good. We took the dogs for a walk. We went to the pet store. So it's been a really nice day. And I am about to head on the road for work. So I'm kind of on a new video schedule. Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday seems to be the days that I'm getting my videos out. I hope that is working for you guys. I will try to get more videos out when I am home more often. But it seems that that sort of schedule works the best with my travel for work. So I hope you guys are actually enjoying it. So I was sitting down and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do a video today before I get on the road. What do I want to do? And I was going through YouTube, watching some of my friends, and I was like, noticed that I was tagged in a video via Twitter by Olive over at Bookolive, and I don't do a whole lot of tags. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to take a look. And I watched Olive's video, and it's freaking fantastic. It's a great tag. And if you don't watch Olive, you absolutely should. She is so articulate, so smart. She reads a lot of nonfiction. So every time I watch one of her videos, I wind up learning something I did not know. And yeah, I absolutely adore her. So I thought, you know what, Russell, you're going to do this tag. Now, this tag is called the My Bookish Boxes and Buzzwords tag, and it was created by Lizzie Faye Loves Books, and I'm going to link both Olive's video and Lizzie Faye Loves Books video down below, so you guys can check them out if you like this tag at all. But this tag is really situated so that you guys can learn about me and I can actually think about those things that really drive me to pick up a book, to want to actually get a copy, or, you know, things that just make me look at books, talk about books, and intrigued by books. So that is what this video is about. It has 10 questions, 2 bonuses. We should get started. Question number 1, what is your go-to genre or favorite type of book? Absolutely, you guys, you know I love sad literary fiction. I like it to be dark. I like it to be something that is almost going to bring me to the verge of tears almost every time, or, you know, make me think. I'm definitely about literary fiction that makes me think. That is my go-to. I am drawn to writers of color and to women writers. Those are really the where I start my sort of sweet spot, and I go from there. You also know that anything with a character or a main character over 70, 80, 90 years old, totally on board. If that were a genre, I would be the king of that genre because I absolutely love it. So there you go. Questions number 2. Retellings you are drawn to. What retellings are you drawn to? Now, I wouldn't say that I'm drawn to, but I have really enjoyed sort of 3 types of retellings. I really do like Greek retellings. Madeline Miller, both of her books, Song of Achilles and Circe, are amazing. Pat Barker's latest book, Silence of the Girls, absolutely loved it. Fantastic book. Anything that's like a Medea or any of that kind of stuff, totally on board. I love anything with mythology or a revamping of it. I'm also really interested in retellings of the sort, there's actually anything from the Bible, a biblical retelling, either set in the current day and age where it sort of shifts the time perspective, or where we look at a story from biblical times or biblical perspective from a different point of view. So you take sort of the David and Goliath story, but you look at it from the point of view of David's mother or something like that. That really interests me. And I really actually enjoy people that sort of flip canonical ideas on their head. I am also really drawn to Shakespeare retellings, anything where they take sort of a Shakespeare play or character and sort of revamp it. A Thousand Acres by James Smiley, a King Lear interpretation, stuff like that. I really love that sort of stuff. So there you go on the retellings angle. I probably could talk about that one for a bit longer. Question number 3, what are some lifestyles or careers or book characters that you are drawn to? Anything within the world of books. I am obsessed with books about writers where an author decides to take something about the creative process or the writing of a book or days in the life of an author, There is an Edmund White book, which I'm totally blanking on the name, where he sort of invents how Hart Crane came up with one of his final novels and created sort of a fictional account of that. Obsessed. Britta Bowler's Decision, which is sort of like 3 days in the life of Thomas Mann. Loved it. Stuff like that, definitely drawn to. Any librarian, any book that's about a library or a librarian, definitely going to get my attention and definitely going to get me to pick it up and at least take a look at it. Anything with sort of anything in the book industry, publishers, editors, anything like that, I'm really, really drawn to. So yeah, books about books about writers. There you go. Question number 4, places or settings you are drawn to. This was actually kind of hard for me because I don't think I'm actually drawn to specific places. Like I would never say, oh, any book set in Italy I'm going to go to. But I will say I do like books about small towns. I love books where we get an identity of an entire town throughout the telling of the story, where we sort of see it from different perspectives. Chuck Klosterman's Owl City, is that what it's called? It's been a while since I read it. Or Olive Kittredge, absolutely loved that book because it's that town from different perspectives. I think that's probably started with, oh, you know, I can't even remember the name of the classic. Winesburg, Idaho. No, Winesburg, Ohio. Putting it in the wrong state. But yeah, stuff like that. Sherwood Anderson. Stuff where we actually get perspectives on these small towns from multiple different points of view. Absolutely love that stuff. I also really like things set in Victorian times where there's a sense of Gothic, where there's a darkness and a wetness to the atmosphere, if that makes sense. Really love sort of that. Question number 5, relationships you enjoy reading about. I don't know that there's really, the only thing I could think of when I was reading this question or thinking about it was, I love books about people who make their own family. Family doesn't always mean the people that you are born to or in that lineage. I do really enjoy books about people who find friends and then friend groups that become family. It's funny, I don't think of a book so much, but I kind of think of like Rent the musical, where this group comes together, they're sort of drawn together by their socioeconomic status, also their artistic interests, plus also the AIDS epidemic that they are working with. All of that stuff brings them together and they become a family, and that musical is very much about that. I love books about that as well, where people come together and they form their own family unit from the friend group that they have. I really think that that's a powerful statement. 6, buzzwords in the title of the book. Absolutely, library, bookstore, anything like that. I'm going to pick up any authors' names, anything like that. I can't say that there is a ton of buzzword title things that I really look for. I can more say things that I stay away from. Olive hit it right on the note. I usually walk away from any book that has the word girl in the title. I think that there's like 5,000 of them. And I don't know about you, but when I think of the word girl and then I read on the back of the book that it's like that it's a young woman in her 30s, I'm a little bit perplexed by the use of the term girl. I think there's a point where boys become men, girls become women, but for some reason it's acceptable in a title to call a woman at any age girl, and it just drives me absolutely crazy. I don't understand it. I don't understand how it gets through the publishing process, and I don't understand how authors always buy into it. I don't know. Whatever. That's a diatribe for another day. Question number 7, things on books covers that draw you in. Absolutely love some sort of like buildings. I'm really drawn to covers with buildings that are sort of intricate. I love things with sort of castles on them, or anything that has sort of an intricate inlay. I like skyscrapers, stuff like that. Really drawn into that sort of visual dynamic. I am also really drawn into anything that is geometric, where the title is still readable. What I cannot handle on a book cover is if I can't figure out the title and the author's name because the cover gets in the way. That is really one of those things that really frustrates me. So I definitely like that, but I definitely am drawn to buildings, architecture, and then anything like that. And I also do think you put a cat on the cover, or a dog, I'll probably pick it up. I don't know that it will actually speak to me, but it will be a book that I'm going to look at because I do love myself a cat or a dog. So there you go. Question number 8, nonfiction buzzwords, types of nonfiction that you are drawn to. I don't read a ton of nonfiction, and I really need to change that. But let me tell you, the nonfiction I'm drawn to is 99% memoir. And anything that is a memoir about a person's connection to a book usually is going to get me to pick it up and probably buy it. I may never read it, but I definitely am drawn to anyone who sort of talks about how they were influenced by a novel or an author. Love any memoirs where they talk about reading as a way to escape things in life. I think, I can't remember the exact title, but it's like Tolstoy and the Purple Chair, I think it is. That's a great book about a woman who uses books to sort of deal with stuff in her life. Absolutely love that kind of stuff. There are a lot of books about book clubs with, End of Your Life Book Club by Will Schwalbe. Oh, so good. That kind of stuff. Those sort of nonfiction, anything about with some sense of literary criticism in it or evaluation of literary merit, I'm on board. That's sort of my go-to nonfiction. And then I sort of like the pseudo-psychology stuff, the Malcolm Gladwell stuff. I'll read that. Actually, I usually listen to that on audio because I enjoy that a lot. It's sort of just a way of learning about stuff. Okay. Number 9, medical or physical conditions of characters. I can't think of anything specific for this category. But here's what I will say. I do like books, because you know I like them dark and I like them sad. I am drawn to books about parents who are dealing with the illness of their child and how they overcome and work through that. You know, the one that comes to mind right away is The Tidal Zone by Sarah Moss. Stuff like that is sort of it. I don't go out of my way and look for anything or medical or physical conditions that really... Specifically, it's not something I'm drawn to. I don't know what happened. My Apple Watch decided to copy everything that I said. So sorry for that interruption. So question number 10, time of year or time in history or future that you are drawn to. It's funny. I prefer my books in autumn or winter because I definitely am more of a cold weather person. And if it is a summer book, I need it to be scalding. I need the heat to be so palpable in the text. The Truth About Goats and Sheep by Joanna Cannon is a good example of that, where the summer was so hot and I want it to be so excessive. But I really love books set in autumn. I love the change of weather. I love sort of the metaphor of all of that. Yeah, so that's always something that I'm really, really drawn to. Times in history, I do like things set in Victorian times. I like things set just back from modern times too. I don't want to be right where I'm at, but I definitely like stuff in the 80s and the 90s from when I was growing up, just so that I like the aha of seeing stuff from my youth. Does that make sense? I've said, does that make sense about 100 times in this video, so turn this video into a drinking game if you so wish. Now time for the 2 bonus questions. Bonus question number 1. Any other bookish boxes or buzzwords that I have not already been mentioned that you want to talk about? I will say this. The other thing that I'm really drawn to right now is I'm really trying to expand my fantasy reading. So I'm really drawn to fantasy novels by women, about women, where there's a strong female lead. I find that really interesting. So I'm definitely drawn to that. I am also really drawn to fantasy novels set in time periods or places that I am not aware of, or like where they bring in a culture that is something that I've not seen in fantasy before. I just received a book that comes out, I want to say next month, that is by an Indian author who I guess is huge in India in the fantasy genre, and his first book is being published over here. It's not his first book, but I'm super interested in that because I have not read a lot of fantasy set in India or know how that's going to work together. I just read The Poppy Wars by R.F. Kuang, which I absolutely loved, which is set in sort of an Asian China backdrop, which I really, really loved, or sort of the desert of Bradley, I can't remember your last name, but the 12 Kings of Sharkai. I think that's it. Awful at titles today. I'm not very good. But, you know, those sort of things are really interesting to put me, fantasy novels that put me in a place or a time or a gender, differentiating it from sort of the norm. Does that, yeah. Okay. Bonus question number 2. What bookish boxes or buzzwords turn you away from a book? This list could be another 5 minutes, but here's a couple of big ones. I'm on board with Olive about girl in the title. Any book that has a bunch of flowers on the cover that have no meaning, just a bunch of flowers, I'm not going to be drawn to it. I will also say this. If a book comes out with a certain type of cover that does well, and then you see 19 books come thereafter with the same cover setup because that book did well, I will probably not pick up the 19 books thereafter. And here's why. Because I feel like if your cover has to be stolen in design from a book that did well, then maybe your idea isn't going to be original, and that is completely based in nothing. But that is just me. It's like I get tired of books that all start to look the same. So I really am looking for that cover that just draws me into a different type of zone. We Cast a Shadow by Maurice Carlos Ruffin. A cover that I had never seen anything like that before. Just, you know, stuff that's just different. And so I really do not like covers that seem repetitive. Or, you know, when Gone Girl came out and then every cover looked like the cover of Gone Girl for a while. Speaking of two of my things, but I did like Gone Girl. But let's talk about The Girl on the Train. That woman was in her 30s. Like, come on. She's not a girl on a train. She's a woman on a train. Whatever. Another day, another comment, another video. The other thing I will say is any book that blurbs non-specifically. Like, if I don't believe the person who blurbed the book actually read the book, it kind of puts me off. So if there's a blurb across the cover that is so generic that I'm like, did you even really read it, or are you just on this because of who you are? That's a turn off for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really actually love doing this. This is the My Bookish Boxes and Buzzword tag. Thank you very much to Olive for tagging me in it. So I know she tagged a bunch of my friends, but I'm going to tag a couple people too. Kendra Winchester. This one's on you. Jacqueline. There you go. Chris at Chris's Bookish Cauldron. I'm going to tag you. Who else should I tag? Oh, you know what? I'm going to tag Matthew Serapa and add him to this list because I have a feeling that he has some opinions that I am going to love. So as always, if you're a return subscriber to my channel, thank you so very, very much. If you are new and this is your first video, I hope it interests you enough to come back and see what I have to say about books. And as always, I wish you happy reading, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye!